Hi everyone, Inklander here, and today I just kind of wanted to try out a off-the-cuff kind of discussion, kind of reaction video kind of thing to the Super Nintendo World Direct that just happened yesterday by the time this video goes up. So I just kind of wanted to kind of give my impressions and talk about what I thought of the park and everything like that, especially since, you know, I am a pretty big just theme park enthusiast myself. I've been to Universal Orlando quite a bit. So, you know, this is pretty neat and pretty exciting. And while this is opening in Universal Studios Japan, and, you know, the whole, like, February release date, like, is that actually gonna still happen? Is that gonna be pushed back? What exactly are they going to be doing in terms of how they're going to be dealing with coronavirus stuff and just kind of dealing with guidelines based around that? Like, there's kind of definitely a lot of different issues there. But then also they did still confirm in this video that this is going to be still coming to the Hollywood park and also to Singapore and also Orlando. So it's technically supposed to be coming to all the different Universal parks that are currently open. And, you know, that's cool to see. But then, you know, the Orlando one is now even up in the air even more because just recently, I think in the past maybe couple weeks really, we've kind of gotten some vague words from Universal on what exactly the status of Universal's Epic Universe, and yes, that is a terrible name. They need to really change that because that doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? Universal's Epic Universe. Someone in marketing didn't think that one up very well, did they? So, but that's where it was pretty much rumored, but like kind of confirmed, but not really confirmed, that that's where in this fourth park, that's where Super Nintendo World would be going for the Orlando version of Super Nintendo World. But now it's kind of gotten this, well, we've kind of delayed it, / we're going to see how it goes with how theme parks kind of end up going in the future kind of wording from Universal Creative. So it's very vague. They're like, we've paused it kind of indefinitely for now. And that's interesting because, you know, this was a big project. They bought up tons of land near Universal Studios to be able to build this. And now we're kind of getting this like, well, we'll just kind of see what happens. So it is good that we're still getting confirmation that this is happening somewhere, somehow in the Universal Studios Orlando area, City Walk area kind of thing. But yeah, it might actually be taking quite a bit longer to get to the States now due to the whole pandemic than originally expected. And then the whole question is like, are we even going to be able to go to the one in Universal Studios Japan anytime soon because of, you know, quarantine and just how everything's going with the pandemic. So it's interesting that they are shooting for February 4th. That definitely seems a little too soon. But who knows? Maybe they have some sort of really good social distancing plan for this park, although everyone is going to want to flock to it that is able to in Japan, and it's just going to be probably absolute chaos. So hopefully they do have some sort of plan in place on monitoring that. But as for what they've actually shown, you know, it actually looks really cool. It looks a whole lot of fun. And, you know, I really love how Miyamoto just seems to be so energetic throughout this whole thing. He's really excited about this. And I mean, when you think about it, like, what an honor it is to have created this character 35 years ago. And, you know, I mean, technically Mario was in Donkey Kong before that, but he really became the way that he is now because of Super Mario Bros. On the NES. But to think that, you know, you created this character 35 years ago, and now he's a cultural icon, and he has a theme park. Just the amazement that Miyamoto obviously has from that in this video is amazing, and I'm really happy for him. And I love that he does the Satoru Iwata kind of directly to you motion. That was very nice. That was very nostalgic. And I also really like how throughout the video he calls himself Mario and Luigi's dad. He's just like, hey guys, sorry, Dad's got to go do some more work now. See you later. And it's just quite fun. I love that that's how he introduced himself and everything like that. So as for the actual park, this looks great. Like, it has an underground section, which is playing the underground music. The entrance to the park feels very kind of Platform 9 3/4-esque from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter section. And, so it's very much kind of pulling you into the universe in the way that you would kind of expect to be pulled into the universe with the warp pipe and going through that. And it very obviously has that motion sensor in there that'll make the noise whenever someone passes further into the pipe. And you come out in Peach's castle, you got the Bob on Battlefield picture on the wall. And, it's really cool to see all the interactive stuff. They're calling the wristband things power-up bands. I'm actually really disappointed about that because they originally announced them with the name Amiibands, which I just think with the way that Nintendo markets everything, Amiibands just works a little bit better than power-up bands. It's just, Amiibands just fits better. It just flows better. And they originally announced that name as, pending. They didn't say it was the final one, but it's really disappointing that it's not the final name, because Power-Up Bands just does not have the same ring as Amiibands, so very disappointing there, but still, the functionality is really cool. It has so much more functionality than the wands in Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And, you're able to do the interactivity with the coins and being able to collect these keys, and you're able to do all these different activities and things like that eventually build up to having, a final boss fight. So I think that's such a cool thing. I worry that the lines for that are going to be extremely long, because whenever Universal has tried to implement any NFC kind of technology into their parks, they've always struggled with it. We've seen that with the Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, where, it took them quite a bit longer to get that virtual line queue down. And same thing happened with Volcano Bay. Volcano Bay is entirely based around Tapu Tapu, which is basically the exact same thing as the power-up bands, but it does more. You can also attach a credit card to it and pay that way. And it was supposed to be this thing where you tap the Tapu Tapu on a podium next to the ride line, and then you just go eat, or you go do the lazy river or whatnot for 30 minutes, and then all you need to do is go back once your wristband vibrates and just automatically hop on the ride. So, good in concept, but the thing is that it could only hold your place in one ride at a time, and a lot of the time, some rides would get incredibly backed up, but then some rides would have absolutely no lines at all. So, really, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how well this is going to work, because this is going to be an incredibly popular area. Tons of people are going to be wanting to go to this, and I think they're probably going to end up having some very similar issues with that functionality, where it's some of these activities are probably going to have insanely long lines, and some of them might just have absolutely no one near it whatsoever. So it's kind of interesting in that way, and I'm going to be interested to see how that works with the app functionality, because Tapu Tapu did work really well with the Universal app, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what they do with the Super Nintendo World app. Is that going to be integrated into the Universal app? Is it going to be something completely different? Who knows? It seems like they're advertising it as its own particular app. I don't know if that's exactly confirmed or not, but I don't know. It seems like that should work probably okay, and I think it's really neat how they're really gamifying everything. So even if, you're not actually waiting in line for Mario Kart, or if you're not going through the Yoshi Adventure Ride, which they showed off absolutely none of, but we know it exists, it's just really cool that, you can just kind of go and, hit a question mark block, or hit any of the blocks in the park, or do one of these little activities, or even, while you're waiting in line to get your food, it looks like there's even some interactive things that you can do while waiting in the queue. So I really kind of like that there's all this interactivity and all these elements. I don't know exactly how well it's going to play out, but I do really appreciate that they are trying to go above and beyond with that and really kind of hone in on kind of the Nintendo side of fun. It really seems like Universal is a really good choice for that, because Universal was able to do that really well for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And, while I personally am obviously no longer going to be supporting anything J.K. Rowling does ever again, including going to any part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter park, if I do end up going to go see the Super Nintendo World area, I'm not going to go get a butterbeer or buy any Harry Potter merchandise ever again, because J.K. Rowling's awful. And it does also really annoy me that Universal is still actively advertising the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and that the Fantastic Beasts area and Fantastic Beasts in general is having a whole lot of problems. But the Fantastic Beasts area was originally planned for Universal's Epic Universe, and we don't know if that's still happening, but I don't know, there's just like this muddiness now to me with Universal, because obviously they put millions and millions and millions, billions at this point, including the Diagon Alley version and all the other versions, other than just the one they originally built in Orlando. They've put billions of dollars into Harry Potter, and a lot of people still like Harry Potter, and oh no, I feel like Universal should have made some sort of statement on that, and they haven't, or made some sort of statement like, hey, we're not adding in any more Harry Potter stuff, or something. I don't know. It's wishy-washy for me, and it kind of really doesn't make them look good. It doesn't really make them look good as a company to me at this point, because even Warner Brothers releasing that whole, you know, Harry Potter open world game, at least they were like, hey, like, J.K. Rowling barely had anything to do with this, but should you morally buy the game anyway? Well, I guess that's up to you. I would say no, but your choice, I guess, if you want to give J.K. Rowling more of your money, but that's... Anyway. Sorry, random side tangent, but, yeah, so for me, it's just like, I am very excited about this, and I think what they're showcasing is very cool, because Universal has always been able to just theme things a little bit better than Disney has. Disney didn't really try to start hopping onto that immersive theming until the Harry Potter stuff happened, and then they were like, oh no, we're having tons of people go see the Harry Potter stuff. We need to add in Avatar, because for some reason they thought that would be the best first choice for immersive theming. But yeah, anyway, going further into just the way that it looks, I really love how active the land looks. Like, they have the coin spinning, they have the shells bouncing around, they have the piranha plants moving around, and it looks really, really great to see this, especially from Universal. Because Universal in the past couple of years has had this annoying tendency to do simulator rides, to just do, you know, Transformers, or even the Harry Potter Escape from Gringotts. Like, it's always just been screen ride after screen ride after screen ride. The Fast and Furious one, I think, was the point where Universal really realized that people were not enjoying it. Because Fast and Furious Supercharged is an awful ride. It's just flat out awful. I think here they finally were like, oh, well, let's actually try to make this interactive, because if they had gone into building Super Nintendo World and they just made it a giant simulator ride kind of thing, I don't know if anyone would really want to go to that, because it's like, why do I want to have just a simulator of sitting in a Mario Kart and bouncing around when I can just go buy like a gaming chair that happens to have like a giant base in it and, you know, just hook up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and sit there and have fun with it? Who needs a simulator? It's just like, I'm happy to see that they're trying to do like an augmented reality thing with it by actually making it, from what it looks like, a track-based attraction that might have some physical elements that the cart interacts with, along with digital elements. It's really good to see that, and as far as the park itself, it's really good to see that they have animatronics everywhere, because Universal has not done anything with animatronics, really. They've done, you know, some of it, but they really kind of just started doing screens and screens and screens. But it's just now that we're starting to see them shift over to more animatronics, and I think that's good. It's good to see, because it really adds more life to the park by having these animatronics instead of just having like screens all over the place. Now, they do have that in the Toad's Cafe area, but, you know, I'm not actually opposed to that, because I think that just kind of works. Like, it makes sense to have, like, the screen as, like, a window to be able to see the toads working on the food. So, I really like it. I really like the theming. And the kart design for the Mario Kart ride does seem to be fairly similar to what they have for like Escape from Gringotts or whatever, but I feel like it's going to probably be quite different because of the AR goggles instead of just having screens. So that's much appreciated, and I really look forward to seeing what they have. And then as for Yoshi's Adventure, they didn't even talk anything about that at all, but from what we understand, it's like a dark ride kind of thing. So if all the rumors of the Yoshi's Adventure one are true, where it's just kind of like a nice little kind of chill dark ride kind of thing, kind of like the train ride over in Tomorrowland. I don't even remember what it's called. I'm sure someone can tell me in the comments, but it seems like it's going to be something a little bit more relaxing like that, or the Dr. Seuss High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride thing, but just with like Yoshi's and Captain Toad and whatnot. So that's cool. But the main things they really showed off, and I think that might be a little bit to the Direct's detriment, is that they just kind of showed off the way the land looked, and they did show off some really cool things. I like how they showed off like the whole underground place where you could kind of sort of become mini Mario by them playing with the perspective. Theme parks have always been good with the forced perspective thing, like the Mount Everest and Hogwarts Castle and everything like that. So I think that's really cool how they designed that for the underground in particular. And, I don't know, I think they maybe spent just a little bit too much time focusing on the actual area itself. But it was really cool to kind of see, and it's really immersive. I love how they've taken all these elements. They've taken classic Mario music, they've taken the look of 3D World, and they've kind of combined it here with, you know, some Super Mario 64 stuff, and I really like how the lights in the park, the like lamps and everything, are kind of almost Rosalina, like observatory kind of themed from Super Mario Galaxy. Like there's so many just nice little touches and nods here that really helps this park stand out. Like this had so much love and so much dedication brought into it. It is absolutely amazing. And even, you know, even down to the look of Bowser's Castle and everything. And the food in the Toad's Cafe is really cool. Some of the merchandise is insane looking. Like, I kind of want all of the shirts and everything, the hats and all, like, it's great. The fact that the power-up bands also function as amiibo for whichever one you get makes me want to get all of them, and I think we've had some numbers saying they're like $30 or something. I will pay $30 for each one of those to be able to have those and kind of, you know, have them as like an amiibo that I can just keep on my wrist at all times. I think that's kind of fun. But they've really gone all out here, but they should have shown off a little bit more of at least the Mario Kart ride, because that's kind of the big thing everyone wants to know about. And while we've kind of had some discussion from some of the developers on that ride, and we do kind of have a good sense of what it's like, it still would have been good to see them officially share that in this video, because this is in Japan, and it's a very long flight. So if it ever gets to a point where the world kind of becomes normal and I will end up wanting to go, and if the Universal's Epic Universe version of it hasn't been built yet, this is still like a 20-hour flight from where I'm at in the United States. It's long. It's quite long. And, you know, it's definitely cool. Don't get me wrong, but, like, you know, if they really were trying to advertise this and really trying to hype this up a lot, and trying to get kids to convince parents to, like, you know, get them a passport if they don't have one, and, like, go fly to Japan to visit Super Nintendo World for an astronomically expensive trip, they needed to do more than just be like, hey, look at the theming of this theme park, in order to kind of convince people to actually actively take that trip. Like, you know, they should have shown off at least some of the footage of the ride, and, you know, maybe they would have had to have digitally faked some of it somehow by, like, you know, somehow just filming the ride normally without the IR goggles on, and then, like, kind of adding stuff on top of it later digitally, and just saying, like, these shots are simulated or whatnot. Like, they should have done something to just, like, give, even if it was just, like, 10 seconds of ride footage, they should have done something to show it off, just so people had an idea of, like, oh, wow, that looks so cool, that's so amazing. Because without it, it's just like a Well, the land looks cool, and I'm talking about this from like someone that's just kind of a casual Nintendo fan. You know, they have a Switch, they have a couple games for it, including Mario Kart maybe, and you know they appreciate Nintendo products and they'd want to go to something like this, but they need like a little bit more of an informed opinion, an informed choice on it. And you know they aren't like a hardcore Nintendo fan where they're going to be going to it no matter what, because pretty much like, you know, if the state of the world does get better, like, I'm probably going to immediately go visit this place. You know, they could have just done something else for the casual fans where it's like, you know, yeah, a lot of you, you know, even like if you live in the UK, this is an astronomically long flight, you know, like, or anywhere in Europe, really. Like, it's pretty far. It's a long plane flight. You know, I've flown to Australia before, and that was like 32 hours, and it's including layovers, and it's like, it's not fun. You don't want to sit in a plane for like 16 hours. It's not great. So they should have done something a little bit more by showing off maybe some parts of the ride, just a little bit, to be like, this is how amazing it is. Because they do show off how technically advanced it is in terms of all the fun activities you can do in the park, but they should have just done a little bit more. Just a little bit when it came to the ride, to be like, this is how technically advanced Universal Studios theme park attractions is. This is the power of Universal Creative. And they kind of didn't. They sort of did, but they kind of didn't. It felt like they got us like 95% of the way there, but then not like the full 100%. So it's like, it's pretty good. It was a really good direct, but they could have shown off the Mario Kart ride a little bit more. I don't know. It's interesting. Especially just everything with, you know, what's happening with Universal's Epic Universe. You know, it does kind of call into question what it's going to be looking like for us over here in the US. You know, when is this version of the park going to be built over here? What exactly is going to be happening with Universal's policy with J.K. Rowling? You know, there's definitely some just, you know, safety questions right now. There's just some kind of, you know, moral questions on Universal's kind of advertising at the moment, which, you know, like, I get. Like, they built it, so they kind of have to advertise it, but also, like, you know, so, but hey, you know, this does show the power of Universal Creative. It's really cool. It's really amazing. Disney would never have made anything that looks like this at all. They are a little bit, maybe, more hard-headed when it comes to design. They're a little bit more very straightforward, and it's not to say that they're bad, it's just they're a little bit more to the point. Like, Disney tends to do everything that you exactly expect, meanwhile Universal tends to just try to do something surprising, which is pretty good. So it really does showcase that. It's really neat to see everything that they have here, from the restaurant with all the toads working and all the theming there, and just there's so many little details in here that it's amazing. Like, there's so many different references, so many different Mario games that it's wonderful to see. It's really wonderful to see, and it shows how much love went into this park. And circling back to the beginning, like, you can tell that Miyamoto loves this, and it's really, really great to see. So overall, it's cool. I'm excited. I think what they've shown off is amazing. It's really impressive. And yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for listening. Do you want to hear me do more random reaction videos like this? If so, let me know it down in the comments as well. And I'm just like watching the video on loop, and it's just like, oh, I'm just watching it, and I'm gonna also be having like the footage play on loop while I'm talking about this. But it's just like, there's so many things. Like, every time like the camera cuts to something else, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that! Like, he's eating popcorn, and like the mushroom flavored popcorn. That sounds so intriguing. Like, that could be really not great, but it could also be really good. Just like there's I don't know. Everything's amazing. Everything's amazing, and it's just like, wow. Like they really spent a lot of time on this. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, go check out my Discord, links in the description for that, and also check out my Twitch channel, where I do regular live streaming of various Nintendo content, including Mario Kart and various other things like Zelda and Splatoon and all. And it's interesting they decided to call this Super Nintendo World, and like, we know that there's going to be hidden Pikmin, but they didn't show off the hidden Pikmin. It seems to be very strictly Mario based. And granted, we know that the Orlando version of the park if that gets built, when it gets built, is supposed to have Donkey Kong stuff. Like, it's supposed to have the Donkey Kong minecart roller coaster. But it doesn't seem like this one does, which we also were expecting, but it's just interesting that there's not just more Nintendo, that it's very strictly Mario-based. So, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. Maybe if it's successful, they'll expand it also in the Japan park, and I don't know, I just keep having tons of things to say about this. I just keep thinking of more things. Anyway, probably should stop talking now before I just keep talking about this for like an hour, but yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. See you in the next video. Bye.